In today's show, we're looking at week 17. It's the trade deadline coming up. We're looking at ways that you can maximize your games played for the week, strategies, all of that stuff. Michael Bolton, he wants to hear about it.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. It's week 17. It's trade deadline week in the NBA. So a lot of what I say in this show, it's going to be bullshit. And I say that not so that you tune out. Keep watching. That'd be great. Keep listening. That's awesome. But just to tell you that the trade deadline's happening on Thursday. So don't go hard at the start of the week. That's your number one takeaway from this video. Please save your ads. I don't give a shit about streaming at the start of the week. I'm going to talk about it in case you decide that that's the way you want to go. Save your ads for Thursday. Please. I beg you. You might actually... No, that's not true. Don't have to save your ads for Thursday. Save them for trades. You might have a trade on Tuesday. You might have one on Monday. You might have one on Wednesday. You might have 15 of them on Thursday. Hopefully we do. At least from what we're doing on our live show for 2 hours. I want stuff to talk about. So save them. Save your ads. If you have to take an L this week because you've got injured players or you're at a games played discrepancy, oh well. I think you're going to be, unless it is literally your last week and your fantasy playoffs start next week and you must get a win this week to get in, then what I'm saying to you is really important and the streaming stuff is much more important. But the big takeaway for you should be hold, stash at the start of the week, and make moves when it happens. In general, making moves when a trade happens is more beneficial than stashing usually. Stashing got about a 10% chance, a 5% chance of it working out. But don't go hard on wasting your ads to start this week. Have we burned that through your skulls? We got that in. It's in there. We got it in. It can often be an issue where we don't think through that enough and we just go into autopilot mode. But you've just got to have that burnt in. You've got to have it in your head. Hold it. Hold some ads. So when stuff happens, stuff may not happen. That's not true. Trades will happen, but trades may not happen that have any influence on fantasy. There just might be nothing that changes. Guys that get traded are all top 50 players, for example. So they're not ads, they're not drops, nothing changes. But hold in case something goes on. Let's look at how the game looks, the week looks. It's a weird week. It is a weird week. There are very few games on in comparison to a regular week. We've only got 8 teams playing 4 games. And that is why on a week like this, if we were looking at it normally, those 2-game weeks for the Rockets and the Bucks, another 2-game week for the Rockets, holy shit. Those 2-game weeks, they're not as detrimental. Because everyone's playing 3 games, basically. 18 teams, is it? Or 20 teams playing 3 games. Your guys are playing 1 fewer game. It's like playing a 3-game week when the majority of the league's playing a 4-game week. So, while it's not great still to have 2 games, it's not as harmful. It doesn't render your Giannis's useless. They still have value, which we'll talk about later on. 8 teams play 4 games for this upcoming week. The Raptors, the Bulls, the Wolves, the Hornets, the Warriors, the Suns, the Knicks, and the Thunder all play 4 games. The Wolves, all 4 of their games are on the road. The Knicks, all 4 of their games are on the road. As I said, the Rockets and the Bucks play 2. Both of the Bucks games are on the road. Everyone else plays 3 games. Everyone else plays the 3 games. Again, we're not going to focus massively on streaming in today's show because of the nature of the week, because of the trade deadline. That is what is going to be important to us. Let's look at how the week actually plays out. As I said, it's weird. The days are all over the place. Only 5 games on a Monday. 10 games on a Tuesday. That's a very busy Tuesday. That takes that day out of streaming. Again, we don't want to stream that day anyway. 6 on a Wednesday. Weirdly, 7 games on a Thursday. They usually go low on a trade deadline day. 7 on Thursday. That's weird. 7 on a Friday. Very quiet Friday. 11 on Saturday. And then 2 on Super Bowl Sunday. That's usual. And they're very early games that are done really early. I don't know what my podcast schedule is going to look that day. It's going to look pretty different, I reckon. So, we've got Monday, Wednesday, which would be ideal streaming days. We're probably going to avoid them just because of the deadline. Thursday with 7 games on. Yeah, we can stream in once we figure out what's going on with the deadline, which finishes at 3 p.m., 4 hours until games start. We've got 7 on the Friday, 11 on the Saturday, 2 on the Sunday. So realistically, we're looking at Thursday, Friday, Sunday as some streaming days for the week. That's our realistic view of the week. So again, if you are in a situation where you desperately need that win and you're not caring about the deadline that much, you can stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. But as I said, save your ads. Save your ads for that Thursday, Friday, Sunday at the end of the week, or not even just the end of the week. Because when you're making an ad based on the trade deadline moves, you're not doing it based on who can I get to play today. There will be great streaming, and this is another thing. What you're making those ads for is for rest of season. But when trades go down, you're going to have multiple teams shorthanded as they wait for medicals and trades to get processed. So you're going to have situations where Jamorko Pickett plays 25 minutes because the Pistons have traded out 5 blokes. Right? And you go, fuck, can I stream him in for 2 games? Maybe? And get something out of it? That'll have absolutely no long-lasting effects, most likely. But while you wait for team players to move and players to come in, you're going to have weird situations. You might have a situation where Ben McLemore plays 35 minutes a night because we're waiting for CJ McCollum to be traded to the Pelicans, for that to become official. So you're watching that. If you do miss out on the longer-term ads, some really interesting short-term ads will arrive Thursday and Friday in particular. Sunday, maybe some of those guys who were traded do show up. But Thursday and Friday in particular, they're both 6, 7, and 6 game days. Both of those days, you will have some really interesting short-term stream options, and for DFS as well. Some very interesting things will probably go down on those days. And so what else goes down really well? That is a Built Bar. Built Bar, it's the best tasting protein bar ever. We all love a delicious treat, especially if you've got a sweet tooth. You're going to look at the candy bars and you're going to reach for them and go, should I? And you're going to go, no, because I want to stay healthy. It's a new year. I want to be svelte. I want to be ripped. I want to be jacked, as they say. I want some high protein, but protein bars taste like garbage. So why wouldn't I get something that tastes like a candy bar, but it's full of protein, 17 grams of protein and 130 calories? The answer to your prayers is Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting, not the breast, it is the best tasting protein bar ever. It tastes amazing, tastes like a candy bar, cookies and cream, goated, absolutely the best. And so many special edition flavors. I believe they're bringing out a white chocolate cookies and cream. I heard a whisper of that. I think it was a whisper they sent me in an email. But anyway, that's coming out, which it sounds brilliant. Get into them. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15, and you can save yourself 15% off your order of Built Bars. Built Bar is built different. Trade deadline, as I said, is coming up. Thursday, February the 10th. That's this week. We've got a live show on Locked On NBA from 2 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. Hosted by Kim Becker, analysis by Johnny Corrales, the big fella, and by the other big fella, me. Me and Johnny are going to be chopping it up, talking about all the trades that go down, everything that happens across the NBA on deadline day for immediate reaction to the trades from a real-life perspective. And I'm going to be chucking my fantasy analysis on the fly in there as well. So go to Locked On NBA YouTube channel and hit the notification bell, and you will not miss the show. Let's look at how the back-to-backs go for the week, or pseudo back-to-backs as well, as I like to call them. Monday, Wednesday, again, Tuesday with 10 games on, harder to stream that day. But remember, it's all well and good to add someone on a Monday, to get 2 games on Monday to Wednesday, but don't. Really, in most cases, don't. But here's the advice if you're going to ignore me anyway. Raptors, Bulls, Hornets, Warriors, Thunder, and Jazz have the Monday and Wednesday combination. All right, ignore that one. Wednesday, Thursday, we ignore that as well. That's the Raptors and the Warriors. Interestingly, you'll see there the Raptors and the Warriors play 3 games in the first 4 days of the week. So if this was a situation where you weren't holding for the trade deadline, there's great value in starting off the week with Chris Boucher, maybe Precious Achiuwa, Otto Porter, Jordan Poole, Juan Toscano Anderson, John Kaminga, whatever. 3 games in 4 nights on low volume days for 1 ad. Would have been great. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work out. Thursday, Friday. There's only one team that plays that back-to-back. The Detroit Pistons. So, are they going to be active in trades? Maybe. Jeremy Grant going to move? Who's going to be the guy? Is Trey Lyles going to be an option here? Kelly Olynyk? I think Olynyk's worth stashing through the deadline anyway, but you might get that interesting value there Thursday, Friday. And then to finish the week, Friday, Sunday, this is where we can really start to get some value in. Trades are done. We know what's going on. Wolves, Pacers, Celtics, Hawks have the Friday, Sunday back-to-back. I don't imagine Minnesota's going to be all that active in trades. Indiana is. There's going to be some huge value opening up there. So if you don't get the rest of season, guys, you might be looking at Isaiah Jackson. It might be Chris Duarte. It might be bloody Dwayne Washington Jr. because they've cleared out everybody. Boston, I don't think will be too much going on there. And I don't think Atlanta will be too active, but you're going to have that Friday, Sunday stream. Remember, Saturday's got the 11 games on. So streaming in on a Saturday does become a little bit more problematic. Let's look at our streaming plan for the week. Don't. Simple as that. Do not do it. Save your ads. Save your ads for long term. Sacrifice the week if you need to. Hit it at the end of the week if you miss out on the guys that you want to try and stream in to save some categories. But otherwise, don't worry about it. On Kyrie Irving watch, which I should have mentioned earlier, you get 2 games out of Kyrie this week. They have 1 home game, which is on Tuesday, and they end the week with 2 road games on Thursday and Saturday. 2-game week for Kyrie. In a weekly league, makes it a little bit tough to start him. It's not outrageous, though, given the fact that you have so few teams playing 4 games. You might be able to start him in a weekly league. But it's a 2-game week for Kyrie. Again, your sell high window for Kyrie is rapidly closing because in 2 weeks' time or so, we're going to see an abundance of home games coming for the Nets. And their team is going, they're in disaster mode at the moment. Who knows what the hell's going on there? So just keep an eye on that. Let's look at the front and back loading situation. The Spurs and the Cavs do not play until Wednesday. Again, save your ads. I'm just going to keep saying it. Save your ads. They don't play until Wednesday, the Spurs and the Cavs, and these teams do not play on the weekend. The Pistons, the Jazz, the Rockets, and the Bucks. We know the Rockets and the Bucks only the 2-game week. The Pistons we talk about have got that favorable Thursday, Friday back-to-back, but it's a stinker for the Jazz, who had already a 2-game week this week, which wasn't ideal, and then they don't play on the Saturday, Sunday. They play Monday, Wednesday, 2 bad days for us in terms of where streaming value is. Not bad in terms of low volume and being able to use your stud players, but like if you're trying to get any value out of a Trent Forrest, you wouldn't be streaming him in for that Monday, Wednesday combination, which in theory would work well, but we're trying to save our ads. Save our ads. SOA. Just burn that into your brains, please. But burn also into your brains that BetOnline is the best place for all the Super Bowl bets. It's got you covered. More props, more lines, more odds than ever before as we head right towards the Super Bowl in, not that long, a week's time. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just football. BetOnline has up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live, real-time updates on current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all these fantastic and amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline is where the game starts. Let's look at weekly leagues. This is a disclaimer again. A weekly league is a league where you set your lineup once a week. If you have the ability to change your lineup every day, this section does not apply to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Just let it play through in the background. That's fine. Helps the algorithm. But this is for you guys who play in a weekly league where you have to make decisions at the start of the week and set your lineup. So who can you add this week that might give you a little bit of a bump in value? I think Jay Crowder with 4 games for the Suns. I think he makes is for category leagues. He makes sense. Jackson Hayes, playing well as a starting power forward. I don't think that's going to be real long term, but Josh Hart and his knee, he's had multiple problems with that this season. So as long as Hart is out, we add Hayes and we go with him. Now, again, all it takes is one of Hart and Zion to return. Zion, all right, cool. All it takes is Hart to return this season. Or they trade an injured Josh Hart and get back one player that might be, hypothetically named Christian James McCollum. And then Hayes goes back and plays 18 minutes a night and has no use. Unless Jonas Valanciunas gets traded. And then they start Billy Hernan-Gomez probably. Who knows? But anyway, hey, it's 3 games. Add him. Let's see what happens. Gary Payton, 4 games. He might play 80 minutes combined. That's enough. JaVale McGee with 4 games. The Oklahoma City Mudflap, Kenrich Williams with 4 games. And with Aaron Wiggins and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, or Robinson-Earl definitely, and Wiggins probably out for the week. They said it's not like a day-to-day thing for Wiggo. And Larry Nance. Larry Nance we should be adding anyway, even though he's still dealing with the recovery from his knee injury. But with the absence of Bob Covington, he's probably going to have to, and Nasir Little's going to have to start. He's going to have to hopefully ramp it up to 30 minutes. So he's a guy you add and deal with the absences in the short term. In terms of guys you can sit in weekly leagues, sit all your Rockets, except Wood is on the borderline. I wouldn't worry with Cousin Kev or even the delicate dancer, Alperen Şengün.
It's a delicate dance in just 17 steps.
What I would do with Şengün is make sure he is added. I know last game was a blowout where he played 29 minutes, but all of the noise, which is ridiculous considering the bullshit that Silas said earlier in the season, everything coming out is that he is going to play more with Wood. Now, Wood may or may not be traded, but that's 25 and 29 minutes in the last 2 games for Şengün. 25 and 29. He is amazingly good. Amazingly good potential, high upside. And if Christian Wood's out here, one of the biggest complainers in the world, saying we need to play more together, then they're going to play more together. And we're seeing that now. You cannot leave. It might not work. He might play 20 minutes a night every game moving forward, and these 2 last games were an apparition. It might not work. But I do not care. If Alperen Şengün is on your waiver wire, he has to be added. You have to add him and see where this goes. You cannot leave him on the wire. He's not a league winner because nobody is. Not one person is. It's one of the most annoying and frustrating and overused fantasy terms in the world. Not one player is a league winner, but you can't leave him on the wire. I wouldn't worry with any... with the Bucks, Giannis, Drew, and Chris, I think they're all potential starts this week in a category league. Punch Bob, Grayson Allen, we're not worrying about it. But those other 3, probably. Got other guys to sit, Jordy Clarkson, a couple of Hawks, DeAndre Hunter and Kevin Huerter. Bogdan Bogdanovic is probably a start. Amir Coffey, very hard to start him. And the Spur Dunk Robinson. Let's look at points leagues. Guys that we should add and start for the week. Pat Beverly, this is just a no-brainer. He should be rostered in every single league. Don't know what we're doing. They play 4 games. You've got to add him. Have to. Darius Baisley, good points league guy, good schedule, good opportunity with Wiggins and Robinson-Earl out. Jay Crowder, we talked about already, as we did with Kenrich Williams. Javonte Green, 4 games. I think Javonte is actually a 12-team category league out as well. Kevon Looney with 4 games. And Trey Mann. Now, Trey Mann has some shit games there. He's had, out of his last 4, he's had 1 really good one and 3 bad ones. But the 4 games tips it over here for me. For points leagues weekly sits, again, we're sitting all the Rockets except for Wood. For the Bucks, I would sit all of them, apart from Giannis. Drew is on the borderline. I wouldn't worry about Chris Middleton in a points league to start this week. I would sit Bud Hield, Al Horford, Carmelo Anthony with his bung hammy, and, of course, your mate, Dennis Schroeder. So I'll do it for me today. I'll be back later on today with a What to Watch For show, highlighting who you can stream in for category leagues to get that win for this week. Also, maybe save your ads for a stash, depending on how your matchup's looking. Follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. If you're here on YouTube, you know what to do. Thumb it up, write your comments down below, subscribe, notification bell. Guys, we're done. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.